Heroes yesterday, villains today.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the system in the hospitals. I have personal experience, personal friends that are telling me how ridiculous the help is that is going on in the system right now. And I know you got some stuff you were going to say. We kind of ended that last podcast on that. But like right now, they were telling me the normal situation for a hospital, and this is one of the nurses saying this, is to have 1 to 2, max 3 ICU patients. So, and this is people that work in the ICU, right? Because what it is if you have any more than that, you can never stop because you have to constantly check the drips, the medication, their pressures. If one of them hits a button, which they're in ICU, so they're more than likely they're not doing good at all, right? And the critical care, intensive critical care. But now they're saying they're trying to give them 5 to 6 right now. So we're already in our hospital systems all over the place. We're so understaffed. And yet they want to, until yesterday, and when I say yesterday, I mean last month, last year, how all these medical workers were heroes. And they are. They absolutely, heroes. They still are today. Nothing's different.
Think about no vaccines, supposedly vaccines last year, and they worked through the whole thing.
Yeah. And how did none of them get sick and die? You never hear about none of the healthcare workers getting sick and dying. You know what they're going to say? Well, they had masks on. It's already been proven. The CDC already said those don't do jack squat.
I know.
The N95s or the surgeon mask.
Dr. Fakey.
Yeah.
Fakey Fauci.
Yeah.
Yeah. God. Anyway. Yeah, so it's really terrible what's going on. But like the frontline doctors were the ones that came out originally came out and really started fighting for truth.
Yeah. Weren't those guys down in Bakersfield? There was a doctor from Bakersfield that was coming out with, I think he was one of those guys that you told me about. He was actually from Bakersfield, I believe. Yeah, what'd they do to those guys?
Well, I mean, they have a website.
Oh, they still have stuff going?
There is.
What is that website, Dad? Do you know?
I think it might just be the frontlinedoctors.com.
Okay, I'm going to look it up.
But you can probably Google it and find it. They actually sell Ivermectin, and I think they have access to hydrochloroquine. There's actually several doctors that are and medical people in that field that are actually suing.
Is that it?
I don't have my glasses on, but what does it say?
America's Frontline Doctors.
Yeah, that's it. It's Frontline Doctors. That's what they're called.
I mean, that's got to be something.
Yeah, and they actually, they actually have some really great information on there that would be helpful for people to look at. I call it there's what's called the Hippocratic Oath, right?
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to the love of money is the root of all evil. Trust me, I'm gonna share something. I'm not gonna go in really deep detail, but I work with this company that has a division that works with medical doctors, chiropractors, massage therapists, health professionals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they have a whole system in place that actually, does wellness products that support your immune system. And what they do is they go in there because there's pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals, right? Two different things. Pharmaceuticals have to be FDA approved. Nutraceuticals aren't. And for many years, the pharmaceutical companies have been trying to get Congress and so forth to eliminate nutraceuticals. Why do you think that is?
Because they're good for you and they work.
Well,
and there's no money. There's no money involved.
There's no money because they can't patent it. Just like ivermectin and hydrochloroquine, they have been around for 50 or 60 years. Like hydrochloroquine, they've been around for 50, 60 years. And, dealing with malaria and people aren't dying. And that one doctor from the front line doctor, the black lady, who's very strong and powerful speaker, in whatever country she was at, she was talking about they've been using it to save people from, the virus for a long time. There's no downside to it, but you know why?
I've seen that video.
Why is that? Because there's no money in it.
Right.
Even though the pharmaceutical companies actually have the patent on it, it's not large money.
It's dirt cheap.
It's dirt cheap.
Well, you talking about hydrochloroquine?
Yeah.
Chloroquine? I actually took that for a year, and I've told you this, for a year in Afghanistan.
Did you really?
Because of malaria. And I thought that, and I took it for a year, not a single issue, never went through anything. One tiny, tiny little white pill, and a lot of the guys, and the light guys never even took that. And, here's something funny, is, wearing boots every day with that super hot temps, 120, 125 degrees. I would always get I'd get athlete's foot in those military boots. That's why I wear Crocs, and I change my different shoes every day. Like, I don't wear the same shoe, and I have a boot dryer. Like, I just try to take care of my feet. Well, I was actually really concerned when I went over there that I was going to get athlete's feet bad, and there's just no way to combat it because you're out in it all day, every day, 120, 125 degrees. It's just like no way your feet are going to stay unless you change your socks like 4 times a day. But I ended up taking this. I actually didn't take it for the first little while, and then I started taking it, and it really wasn't because I was thinking I was going to get malaria because, there's not really any mosquitoes out there because there's no water.
Yeah.
But it was more for the guys on the east side of Afghanistan. I was on the west side. But I took it. My foot never itched once. I never got any fungus or anything ever from that. In fact, so basically what it did is it kind of helped me, to be honest with you, in that situation. Now, I don't know what was happening long-term in my body. Maybe it's not good for you long-term. I have no idea. I'm not trying to say that was no miracle thing. But how funny was it when they started talking about hydrochloroquine, how that just disappeared off the deal because they knew it was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, ivermectin, this is common brands. It says Soolantra, Sklice, and Stromectol. It says it's an anti-parasite. It can treat infections caused by roundworms, threadworms, and other parasites. Isn't that actually what oh my goodness. Why can I never think when I'm on this show? I always do this. Veterinarians, don't they actually give that to even horses, right?
Oh, yeah, to horses. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that's a good case for this. So what are you saying? It's a paste?
Well, yeah, the frontline doctors actually sell.
Is that where you got it from?
No, I actually got the paste.
So it's a paste.
It's a paste. And I have literally taken it. When me and Thomas were on that hunting trip I was telling you about, when, we hiked to this very high mountain and came out of there in the dark, the wind was, we didn't get back to camp until 12:30. Probably the hardest backpacking trip I've ever did in my life. And we were both exhausted. And no side effects at all. What it was is the wind was so cold, it literally was burning my lungs. Me and Thomas both started coughing, like in our chests and stuff like that. And that night before I went to bed, I took it. And I've actually taken it a couple times. And nothing. And I never got bothered by it. I had walking pneumonia when I was a teenager because I bought a 500 Suzuki. And this is when I lived in Oregon, and me and my cousin Andy, he had a 750 Honda, and we went out riding, and it was cold, and all I had was a T-shirt. I ended up getting walking pneumonia. Walking pneumonia is bad. It's a bad thing because you can it can take you down before you really realize what's going on. And so I was a little bit concerned when I was coming out there because literally that wind was so cold and it was like you were breathing out of your mouth and then you start hacking.
All that.
And anyway, so no, it's
well, and again, we ain't no medical professionals, so we're not telling you guys to go take this stuff. So I just want to clarify that.
Exactly.
Use wisdom, use your own study, your own, and that's what I said. That's what bothers me about a lot of people in this world today, and that's kind of what I went off a couple of episodes ago, is the fact that people just believe everything they hear.
Right.
I've never been of that mindset. It's like, I want to find out for myself. If everybody goes and jumps off the bridge, do you just go? Because, everybody's doing it. I guess we just need to go do that. There must be a reason why they're doing it, right? Like the dumbest things people do, like literally.
The sheep.
Sheep, it's like...
Baba.
What happens? Like, if you're at an amusement park and you've seen everybody run in a certain way, what are you probably going to do? probably going to take off and run. Like, there must be something bad happening.
Yeah.
And that's how people are with this, with everything, is the majority of people are not making a logical decision for themselves, sitting down, researching and thinking, okay, is this what I want to do for myself? What they're doing is they're doing it because, well, my uncle and my aunt and my grandpa and my grandma are doing it. And I need to do it. And everybody around me and everybody at the school and all the other students are doing it. I don't want to be the only guy. Like, that alone in itself, that drives me nuts, is people being influenced by other people because they don't want to be the odd one out. I feel like I've always been the one doing my own thing. I've never just followed to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And people are, it's just like people in this day and time, it's like they have no guts and no internal fortitude to make your own rational, logical decision. Now, if it is the same decision everybody else makes, then go, by all means, go for it. But don't just, because 10 people walk that way, you just go with them.
Well, what I think about that, not only is the media, but it's peer pressure. How many times going, even though, you know, you grew up in an age where, like I said, we homeschooled, but we also, you know, church school.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any of your buddies that did things because of peer pressure
Oh,
that
all
maybe
the time.
wasn't right?
Oh, I dare you to jump off that.
Yeah.
I dare you to run across there.
Peer
Yeah.
pressure. And so you look at, you know, all last year, like I felt, you can call it rebellious, you can call it whatever, but it definitely didn't have nothing to do with fear, because if you go into a restaurant and they say you got to have a mask, I turn right back around and walk out. Mm-hmm. Stop and think of this logic, because this is so irritating to me. Think of the logic now. Think logical. Don't think emotional. If you want to wear a mask, more power to you. If you want to breathe your carbon dioxide into your body all day long, more power to you. You know, maybe you should research carbon dioxide. Maybe you should research the size of a virus, and that that mask don't stop it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you're going to spit on people, okay, yeah, it can stop spit, but it ain't stopping no virus.
Okay, yeah, and let me bring some up about that. One thing that doesn't bother me and kind of makes more sense is when you're at we've done this our whole life, so who cares? I want everybody out of a mask. I want it to be where nobody has to wear a mask. But now when your waiter is bringing your food to you and they've got 4 or 5 plates on each side of their hand, it's not a bad thing necessarily to their spit not being going all over my food.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Think about this. This is kind of gross, but like, how does our body build up an immunity to things? Germs. Yeah. How many times did us as kids pick gum off the floor and put it in our mouths? How many times did we eat dirt? I remember as a kid thinking, why do I have dirt? I'd be crunching on sand and dirt. I'm like, how'd that get in my mouth? But
build your immunity.
Kids sucking on their fingers. Like, why are you, we all know that kids are the ones that basically spread all the sickness more than anybody. Like, my kids, I feel like I was never sick. I don't feel like I'm a sickly person and I don't get nothing. But when my kids were going to school, when Vivian was in school, I felt like every 3 weeks we were all sick. Mm-hmm. Why? Because kids are touching their, fingers up the nose, in the ears, in the mouth, touching on other kids. I watched Violet the other day. Who was sick? Some kid was sick, and they were sucking on this little metal keychain. And then I look over 5 minutes later, and Violet's clipping it to her lip. I'm like, there you go. Now those germs are all, like, that's just kids, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like certain things that's like, okay, but that's not why it started, though. It had nothing to do with protecting us from that. It was all, let me ask you this. Let me throw something at you and see what you think. Now, this could be considered, what's the word when it's way out there and people think, oh, that's not true. What's the
conspiracy theory?
Conspiracy theory. There, I was trying to say that the other day and I cannot think of it, but I brought this up to Travis. This is just a thought. This means nothing, holds no weight or ground. But who do you think paid for all these masks to be made? Billions and I don't even know. I'm just going to say billions and billions of masks, right? These companies did that, but where did they get the money from? Guaranteed the federal government. Okay?
Where's that money come from, the federal government?
Exactly. So, but let's say they had to make all these masks. These people are being rebellious. They're not wearing these masks. They're a bunch of patriots and they don't listen. And shame on you for spreading this vaccine. So they do these pushes, and I'm going to write that down because I want to say something about that too. So they do these pushes and they say, you got to wear it. This is a mandate now. You got to wear these masks. Why are they doing that? Why all of a sudden can they do it and then they shut off and don't do it? Because they've got a massive surplus that they've got to get rid of. So make these companies, make these places, make these people buy all these masks, because now nobody's wanting to do it. We've got miles of these boxes of masks that need to be done because we spent all this money on having made, and now they're not doing them. So now we're going to make them buy them so we can get our money back. Is that too far out there thinking? I mean, I've thought about, even with the vaccine, how many billions of dollars have they spent? I watched a video, me and Michael are going to do an episode on this. Billions of dollars that they have made, and I don't remember the time frame. I'm going to play the video on that other episode, so stay tuned if you want to hear that. But it was just like a short time frame that these scientists from Pfizer said that they made off of the vaccine. He goes, it's the only thing, this scientist said this, he goes, it's the only thing that's keeping us afloat. Is that one little small window of time that they've sold the vaccines in Tim, like 6 months, $7 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Money.
The root of all evil.
Is the root. It's
okay,
the
so let me finish something. What I was going to say about the restaurant. Okay, I just want you to think logically. That's all I want you to think about. Okay, don't take my word for it, but just think about this. You go into a restaurant. Okay, the servers, they got masks.
I know where you're going with this.
And right now, a lot of restaurants, you know, they don't make a big deal. But last year, they were making a big deal about having the mask on. Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me, please, explain to me how if I wore a mask into a restaurant, the minute I sit down, I can take my mask off.
And it doesn't spread.
It's okay. Tell me how that logically. Come on.
Yeah.
Think logically. How can you go into the restaurant, sit down, and take your mask off, and I see people, and they're all comfortable now. But before, what do they do? Just like go along to get along?
Yeah.
Do you really believe this?
Yeah.
Come on. Think with your brain. How can you say that's okay?
Yeah.
They're muzzling people.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, I seen pictures of slavery. They put muzzles on their faces to keep them quiet, to keep them controlled, so people couldn't communicate. You look at
couldn't see a smile.
You couldn't see a smile. Think about it. Think about me and you. I mean, how many times, like, you look at their eyes, you don't even know. I said this before. Some of the people like wearing masks because maybe they're so homely. They're missing all their teeth or something. They're so homely. They don't want to put makeup on today, so they put their mask on. They're hiding behind the mask.
That's exactly what it is. How jacked up do you think this is going to make this generation of kids?
Oh, no kidding.
Okay, let me tell you a story. I can get so fired up about this because like you said, where's the logic? There's absolutely none. Okay, I get it. When you go to a place, and look at, guys, if we stood up and we didn't go to these places and we didn't support them and we turned around and walked out, because yes, the waiters, the waitresses in there don't have a choice. Their bosses tell them what they have to do because there is no logic. They don't get shut down. I get that. But if we support the whole agenda behind it by just wear it to your table and then sit down and take it off, come on, guys. You know, like, think about this. But so telling a story of a local restaurant we were at, it was terrible. It was actually bothering me so bad. I thought, what is this going? Because you talked about kids knowing a lot more than you think they do and fear. Check this out. So there's this kid. He's like 7, 8 years. In fact, I think you were there. I think we went to breakfast together with Mom and Sarah and the girls or something. Anyways, there was a couple, like a family of 5, a mom and dad, a couple kids, and like a grandparent or something. Well, they all threw their mask, including the kid. He's like, I'm guessing he's like 8 years old. They all threw their mask on as soon as they got out of the car, okay? And they walk up there, and they go inside, and it's kind of busy, and they go in there, and they tell their table, and they're like, okay, you're going to have to wait. Everybody's waiting outside. They come back outside. Everybody starts pulling their mask back off Okay. They're just doing what they're trained to do, right? So now they're back outside. Well, everybody but the kid took their mask off. He's so used and so trained to it now as a little child because they train a lot easier than we do. He left it on. Well, the mom, I noticed, I was like, it just bugged me that he was wearing it anyways, and not his fault, but just this whole system, it just irritates me. And by the way, when this was going on, you didn't have to wear a mask. This wasn't even that long ago. There's no mask mandate. It's full of people with no mask. And we never put one on. Well, the kid's leaving it on. The mom finally notices that he's still wearing the mask. And she's all, Joe or whatever his name was, hey, you can take your mask off. We're outside. You can take it off. He wouldn't take it off. And I'm not being mean, but the kid was a lot overweight. Mm-hmm. And you nailed it. And I'm not sure of this, but I'm assuming that's part of a hiding thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's part of it, and I'm not blaming it on his weight, but because I really don't think it's just the weight. He probably didn't even think of that. I really think, bottom line, is that's his little security blanket now, and the parents have no clue what kind of fear is really going on. He may not utter it, he may not speak about it, but subconsciously, that kid is probably terrified that this COVID-19 is going to come and sneak in his bedroom at night and kill him.
Yeah. It's exactly what we said. Think about these little kids that may never say nothing, but they hear mom and dad. Their parents watch CNN or whatever other news media, and these kids hear it just like when I was a little kid and seeing the pictures of Vietnam and stuff, and that made a scare. I was scared, But yeah, so I feel for these little kids, and look at what they're doing in these public schools. It, supposedly, from what I've seen, is they're making them kids wear masks. Is it
all the school? Like I
don't know every school. I don't know that. I don't
either.
know that at all. But yeah, it's a terrible thing. I mean, think about it from a health perspective. Just look at carbon dioxide, okay?
And inhaling,
you breathe
straight
in
carbon
oxygen, and you block it. Honestly. Because of what I did last year, there was one or two places I had to, what I did is I put a hanky over my face. Mm-hmm. I honestly feel like I'm about ready to pass out. I don't understand how these people can do this all day long. Mm-hmm. It's like I refuse.
Riding around their car by themselves.
That's what drives me crazy. I want to drive up beside. I want to drive up beside them and point and start laughing. Do you understand? Nobody's in the car with you, and you're so fearful. All that says is CNN. On their car.
Come on.
Yeah.
That still's going on.
You know what? There's so much access to information. Instead of just believing the corrupt politicians and the corrupt media, the fake news, why don't you just do your own research?
Yeah.
Instead of believing 100% of these corrupt, lying devils, it's terrible. I'm gonna share something. I thought about this when we were talking about the heroes, the medical people. There's a big group of them that are not taking that shot.
Right.
And they're like you said, last year there were signs everywhere, heroes and essential workers.
Hey, when we would land on the helipad, Dad, and we'd get out, horns would honk, honk, honk. There was support.
How can that be?
Yeah.
I mean, I think about this. The guys that came back from Vietnam, this was obviously where those guys were spit on. Those guys, and it wasn't them. It was the politicians. It was a political war, and the media did the same thing back then. Yeah, it was terrible.
You've seen it, and like you said, you have your history that you've seen this happen.
Yeah, and so it's kind of interesting because when Carter was president, I remember the Iran Contra, the hostages, it's basically the same things going on right now. People are burning the flag. People were doing all these things. Over in Afghanistan, really, you could call them hostages, whatever, right now. But that's not what I was going to say. I wanted to say this about medical. Okay, so without getting a whole lot of detail, try to set this straight. Pharmaceutical companies. We all know that there are, ideally, do you not agree, logically thinking, that you have a personal responsibility to take care of your health?
Yes.
You can eat good food, you can supplement, you can do all that things. Is it always easy? No. For the last 4 months, I've been cutting weight and exercising, and I feel like I said, I'm 66. Thank God. I feel better than I felt for years. I feel like I'm probably 30.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that good. So we have a personal responsibility, right? And so, I know people. I've been around. I was a consultant. I dealt with a lot of medical doctors and chiropractors and massage therapists, and teaching them about the system. What I wanted to say is this, though, is doctors go to medical schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pharmaceutical companies fund medical schools. Think about it.
I knew they funded the. Okay.
I
didn't know
let me
about the
repeat
schools.
this. Okay.
Yeah, repeat that.
Okay. So there's what's called the AMA, American Medical Association.
Mm-hmm.
The pharmaceutical companies, think about it. If I wanted to get my drugs pushed out there, who am I going to fund?
Mm-hmm.
I'm funding the medical schools. Who gets taught at the medical schools? The MDs. Do you know the MDs do not have the time of so many pharmaceutical drugs that there are? They do not have the time to independently study every drug that they prescribe to a patient.
There's no
Do you
time.
understand that there's over 100,000 people die annually, and probably more than that now, annually from misdiagnosed drugs?
How much?
Over 100,000.
Wow.
Every
year.
Side effects from drugs. Do you understand that they counteract each other? Do you understand your grandpa right now, my wife's, your mother, dad, she's been dealing down at the veterans in Fresno because they changed all his medication, whether it's for the heart, whether it's for acid reflux, whether all this stuff from choices probably through life, but they give these pharmaceuticals to these people. Okay, my opinion, purely and simple, there is a place for it, but it is short term.
Yes.
It is like, okay, hey, if you bust an arm, thank God for a doctor. But when it comes to meds, like I am like so, like I was raised that way because my dad's mom, my grandma, she had 13 children, I believe, did everything natural, had an old Indian book, herbs, and did all that kind of stuff. But if you stop and just common sense logic, think about pharmaceutical companies that fund medical schools. Medical schools teach doctors.
Yeah.
And doctors are prescribing medication that they don't even know the whole side effect. And this was what really drives me up a wall. Think about if you watch TV, look at any medication that they're trying to promote, the pharmaceutical companies are trying to promote on TV. Mm-hmm. Why do they always show these men and women frolicking through the pastures with flowers and green grass? And right at the last minute, they'll say, but this could cause this and this and this and this and this and this. Why do they do that? Why are you willing to do that? Come on. Think logically. It's your life. It is not, the Bible says the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Jesus came to give you life and give it more abundantly. I always said this. I've said this for many years. You've heard me say it. And there's some people that throw you tomatoes, but that's okay. There's 2 to 3 inches of your body that loves all the sweet stuff, loves all the cakes, likes all the pies, likes all the desserts. 3 inches, your taste buds. Once it goes to your stomach and it goes down, I've done health seminars. Once it goes down to your stomach, and it breaks down, it's toxic. It's toxic to your body. I'm not saying I'm perfect, okay? But I'm telling you, if you do this on a consistent basis, constantly, you gain weight. Think about this. What if, because you're 37. I promise you, as you get older, just go out into our society and drive around. Go through our grocery stores. How many people you know really look like they're in shape?
Not a lot. Majority don't.
Yeah, big majority don't. Why is that? Okay, people are eating more because the food that they're buying is boxed or bagged or canned or whatever. It doesn't have the nutrition.
It's not supplementing them.
It's not actually feeding your body to give you energy or anything else. And so what happens is you're eating more and more and more. Your metabolism slows down and you gain weight. Well, so my question would be this. If you're 40 years old, you gain 2 pounds a year. 2 pounds don't sound like much. Look at muscle dictates your metabolism. A pound of muscle might be this big, but a pound of fat might be this big.
Right.
I've seen that comparison in real life. It's definitely bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, so my thing is this. If you only gain 2 pounds, it don't sound like much, huh? But if you're 40, okay, and let's say you're 200 pounds. When you hit 41, now you're 202 pounds. Give it 20 years. What's 20 times 2? It's 40. Now all of a sudden, when you're 60 years old, you've gained 40 pounds. You're 240. Tell me how much profit is in all that fat you're carrying around. Try putting a backpack on your back 40 pounds, 50 pounds,
Right.
60 pounds. All the stuff that's affecting all your organs. I mean, all that stuff, it's like...
It's the frog in the pan that slowly warms up. You don't realize how much you're carrying around, how much is tearing you down.
And I have compassion, but there's reason. And think about, is there stress going on today?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Cortisol, you're going to gain more weight.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this, what I'm saying is, back to the medical thing is it comes down to this pharmaceutical companies making billions for their stockholders, okay, creating drugs that are FDA approved, big deal. And then what they do is they, down the road, after it's killed how many people, they might take it off of the market.
Maybe, yeah.
And this whole thing that's going on with this vaccine, not even FDA approved, hasn't even had the time. They're basically using people as guinea pigs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not willing.
No.
My body, my choice, right? My body, my choice.
I brought that up, Dad, is Newsom on the other day. I brought that, you heard it, where he was saying, we're saying yes to women's choice and women's rights.
I know.
I'm thinking,
what a hypocrite.
Yeah, what a hypocrite. Literally.
Yeah, what a hypocrite.
Like, hello, people who listen to this. Do you not see what this guy is saying? Isn't this a red flag? It's a sign, what we're trying to say.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi's nephew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they run together, right?
That's why they had to run down here and bail him out on that whole situation. I want to get started back on that again.
We don't but anyway, so remember, you got to take personal responsibility. I challenge you to look at any of the side effects. Just think about those advertisements on TV that you see.
It'll bring your blood pressure down, but you're going to have to fight 10 other things that are going to
exactly.
jack you up.
All those side effects. And I'll tell you this right now, high blood pressure, that's a good illustration. High blood pressure, back in the day when I was really like spending the time with health professionals, what they did is they brought a whole new group of people in there because they had a certain a base or a parameter. What high blood pressure was, anything above that, you might need to be on high blood pressure medication. Or how about changing your lifestyle? But anyway, what they did is they brought a whole nother group into that needed the pharmaceuticals by making the norm higher. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things they do. So I have no faith in them guys.
No.
Pharmaceutical companies, pharmacia, no.
Yeah.
So that's my choice.
Like you said, there's a time and place. There's certain things that you may have to use short term.
Yeah, short
But
term.
when you, these people I've seen, I see it all the time in this field. And it's like they'll bring a bag with them. Like when we do a transfer, there'll be a Ziploc bag, a big one, like a 3-gallon bag. Dad, full. You've seen it.
Yeah.
Full. How are you even who you are? How can you even function? How can you even be the real you when you're so medicated? Your body can't function normally. Your bowel system can't function normally. Your mind can't function normally. I mean, my goodness. And let me tell you another little interesting story. So I don't know if your watchers have ever heard the term bedpan bullets. I mean,
you haven't heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, bedpan bullets, let me explain what that is. Okay, so what happens obviously is people get on these different medications. Now, I do want to say this one thing though. I've kind of used myself as a guinea pig. Like I told Mom this morning. I go, not my mom, his mom, my wife. Anyway, I told her this morning. I said I'm always searching for the fountain of youth.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, come on. I got grandkids. I came up with a saying last year or the year before. Said I'd rather die living than live dying. I'd rather die living than live dying. And what I mean by that, living to me is being able to do the things that I want to do. Hunting, fishing, be with my family, travel. I just got back from Wyoming, doing things that are exciting. How many people do you know that hit their 70s, 80s? Their whole goal is to hit retirement, and then
they die.
And I shared a scripture with you about what happens when you retire and you sit down. You're basically dying.
Yeah.
So I'd rather die living than live dying. I've skydived with you when you were 18 or whatever, right? So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. But how many people, stop and think about it, they're armchair quarterbacks. They get older, they sit in their comfy chair, and they're armchair quarterbacks, and they're alive, but they're dying. All they ever talk about is what happened 50 years ago, 40 years ago. It's like, go out and do something, walk, do something. You could probably go to somebody that's not able to, go help them, encourage them. But if you're just sitting there, you're just dying. You're just wasting away, right? But yeah, so I don't know why I said that, but
well, what were you bringing? You're bringing up a point.
I said I'd rather die living than live dying.
Yeah, but there was somewhere
I got sidetracked on a rabbit trail.
Sorry, I couldn't bring you back on that one.
yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, I don't know. I still think it was something to do with the healthcare, or maybe it was pharmaceuticals. I don't remember, but oh well.
Yeah.
We'll move on, I guess. Well, to be honest with you, I mean, this has almost been a 40-minute. I think that's a good place to end it right there. So, let's leave a word of encouragement to the listeners. Thank you guys, and share this around. If you got anybody that needs to hear this, and I have noticed that this stuff is getting shared, and the listeners are growing, downloads are growing. And if you think some people need to hear certain things, don't be afraid to share it. Go give us a rating review on iTunes, and please follow us on YouTube, the MVM Show. Even if you don't watch it on there, just hit subscribe. It's free, and then it'll help us get to 1,000. That's really all we're looking for, and trying to build up watch time. But even the YouTube's growing good, and actually the views too on that side of it. But again, that could be that at some point can be very easily compromised because of what is being said. We've already dealt with it once already, but that's okay. So anyways, you got an encouraging scripture that you can give? Beloved, let's quote that one. Right there.
Let's do it like this. Here's a couple I could think of. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And renewing of your mind, in my opinion, it can be in many ways, but the main thing, again, it goes back to trust and truth. Is in almost 66 years, I've never been let down by the Word of God. And actually, there's a scripture. I was thinking about that when I was coming over here this morning. It says, "While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal." Bottom line is, we all know sooner or later our day is, like it says in Ecclesiastes, there's a time to be born and a time to die. I don't care if I live to be 120 years old. Sooner or later,
you're gonna die.
If the Lord hasn't come back, I'm gonna die. You're gonna die. We're all gonna die. We do not know the appointed time. So, if we can have this trust and faith that there is a hereafter, and give people the hope, like the Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And, again, that's a choice. But when you experience and you have that relationship, I think it makes you fearless. I don't fear anything. I mean, me and you had a mountain lion experience that in Hell's Canyon, Oregon, at 6 yards, I shot with a bow coming to attack us. I never felt one bit of fear. So I'm just thankful because we stand on the Word of God, and so gives us great hope.
Yeah, it does. All right, guys, thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one.
Okay.